All right, what's up, everybody? Etchy here from Regidrago Gaming, bringing you another interview with the one and only Andrew Hedrick, NAIC champion, three-time regional champion, out here in Chicago for the little DDG test group boot camp, whatever you want to call it. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Happy to be here.
Why don't you introduce yourself for those who have not been acquainted with you yet?
Yeah, so I'm Andrew Hedrick. I'm a player from Iowa. I've been playing for a while, since around maybe 2011, but definitely got a little bit better recently. Been starting to go to more tournaments the last few years and had a pretty good run recently at NAIC.
Yeah, we cover Andrew's NAIC run and kind of his journey as a player over the last few years in our full interview. I believe that was for a podcast episode 9, I'm going to guess, around there. So if you want to check that out, definitely feel free to do that. But we're here today to talk about Worlds. What are your thoughts going into the new Worlds format here?
Yeah, I actually think the format is pretty interesting. There's a lot of decks that are pretty good. I don't think anything's like insanely broken, but Charizard Dusknoir I think will be a top contender. Definitely a pretty good deck as well. Regidrago will be pretty scary with the Kyurem. And I think I expect Gardevoir to be pretty played as well. And there will also be lots of decks from the NAIC format will still be around, stuff like Lost Box, even though they might get a little bit worse. But overall, it's going to be a pretty interesting format. Changes a little bit from current standard, but also not entirely different.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about Lost Box because you did win NAIC with playing the Lost Box deck. Obviously, a lot of people are scared to play it now because the Kyurem is out. And it's not even just because of the ability, but Regidrago is just going to be a really good deck in the format with that Kyurem. So it has two ways to use the Kyurem against a Lost Box deck. Do you think it kind of survives strong enough to be a reasonable consideration for NAIC?
Yeah, I think for Worlds it probably will still
Right,
get.
for Worlds, yeah.
Yeah, I think it will still get like some amount of play. I do think it has a pretty good Charizard matchup, which I think will be potentially the most played deck at Worlds. So that's definitely a good thing to have. The Regidrago matchup is pretty scary, but I think overall I do expect some people will still bring Lost Box, and I don't expect it to completely fall off.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird position because it's like people are going to be so scared to play it because of Drago being so strong that most people aren't just going to throw in the random Kyurem like some people were probably worried about initially. It's really just the Drago is probably going to be awful. But hey, maybe people will bring the random Kyurem into their deck list. So going now, this is one of your big last accomplishments remaining, I guess, because you've gotten a regional championship, got an international championship. Now you're looking for a world's championship. Who's going to win Worlds?
I don't know. I mean, I could go with some safe names like Tor and Azul. I'm gonna try to hopefully be up there contending for the World's placement as well, but it'll be pretty close. Lots of good players will be there. Um, yeah, so I say I don't know for sure, but I think it'll be pretty good Worlds.
I will say I asked multiple other people already who's going to win Worlds. There was some Tord in there, but most of them did say you will be the winner of at least the Masters division for Worlds because you can't win Seniors division. And the number one reason was aura. They think you have a lot of aura. Do you agree with this?
I do think I kind of have aura a little bit. Sometimes, up on stage, I feel like a lot of people have aura on stage. So to be honest, I feel like watching Tord on stage, I feel like he has a lot of aura. When you sit down across him at the round, I don't know if I feel it, but watching him when he's on stage in like the finals, I see a lot of aura from him as well. So I don't know.
All right. Well, the aura king himself, Andrew Hedrick, thank you so much for joining us for this interview. Where can people follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at PokeHawkeye, and I tweet about tournaments, articles, stuff like that.
Cool. What's up, everybody? Etchy here from Regidrago Gaming, bringing you another interview with the one and only Gabriel Smart. Gabe, you're out in Chicago. What are you doing here?
I'm getting ready for Worlds, also creating some content as well with the DDG team. I'm going to a Cubs game as well tonight, so really excited.
Very important.
Yes, very, very important. And yeah, just kind of enjoying some vacation time. We got Worlds in about a month from now, so starting to ramp up testing. I'm starting to get ready for that. So definitely excited to compete. But yeah, Chicago's a pretty cool city.
It's amazing.
Time actually here. I don't actually think I've ever been to Chicago.
Really?
The city before. So yeah.
Wow, that's because we don't have events out here. We don't have. It's always in Peoria, which doesn't count.
Peoria, unfortunately.
Although we don't have one in Peoria this year, at least
not
confirmed.
Yes,
so
not confirmed.
We'll see. Maybe Chicago's second half of the year. Well, who knows? Who knows? But Gabe, now that you're here, you're doing a lot of testing for Worlds format. Obviously, trying to prepare for Worlds as much as possible. But let's not talk about Pokemon first. Let's talk about you. What do you like to do in your free time?
That's a great question. I like to watch sports. That's like one of the big things. I used to be.
What are your teams?
I'm a San Francisco Giants fan for baseball, Sacramento Kings fan for basketball, and then I am a San Francisco 49er fan. I love football as well.
I see a recurring theme here with the location of these teams.
Yes. I'm from Northern California, so pretty much all the Northern California teams, and I'm always trying to root for it. So yeah.
Okay,
it's pretty cool.
Cool. So obviously, been doing a lot of testing for Worlds, not just this week or half week, but beforehand as well. What are your early thoughts on the Worlds format?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the brand new Dusknor is definitely a card that like I'm trying to figure out, exactly like how to use. I think that like it obviously is, good in the Charizard deck. However, I think it could be good in Dragapult, maybe something else as well. I'm not 100% sure. The brand new Kyurem as well is definitely going to be a card that sees a lot of play, specifically in the Regidrago build. Maybe some, decks that don't really beat Lost One variant, you like choose to put that in, not 100% sure there. And then I also think the brand new Pheasantipity as well. I think that, Pheasantipity is a really, cool new card. Like all those, kind of have effects in the format. As of right now, I'd probably say the top decks heading into Worlds are probably going to be decks like, I think, Charizard is going to be up there. I think, Gardevoir is still going to be really good. I also think that, Regidrago is also, pretty decent as well. I know that's been a deck that's been getting a lot of talk.
Yeah, getting a lot of talk, and just gets a huge new tool in this new format with the Kyurem.
The brand new Kyurem is pretty good. Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited to see exactly, how much that the card affects the format, because yes, like it's obviously like really good against the Lost One match. However, it's also like pretty good against things, like Charizard and Dragapult, and like just being able to hit, turn 2 110 on 3 different Pokemon using the Regidrago's Apex Dragon is actually really, really good. So I think there's a lot of, cool things that deck can do. And I think the meta is going to be, pretty diverse. I think we've, like had those formats in the past where like the top 2 decks have been like 15 to 20%. I think like for this event, it's going to be a lot of 10 to 12%.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of the most diverse formats we've seen.
Yeah, I can definitely see it being, those top 3 decks being, clearly at the top, and then everything else can still be like 6% across the board type thing. Can still be a very wide meta.
Got to prepare for everything heading into this event.
For sure. Yeah, because the format does change for sure going into Worlds from this format, but not a lot. Like just a couple decks really change in some of their interactions with others, but you can still play Chimpao, and it is basically the same, except you can throw in like a Pheasantipity.
Chimpao still Chimpao.
Yeah, it's still Chimpao. So
pretty good deck.
You've played a lot of Gardevoir, obviously. You got top 32, I believe, at NAIC.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Gardevoir going into the new format?
Yeah, so I think that Gardevoir is still, relatively good. I mean, we've seen the brand new variant that's been, kind of going around without the Bravery Charm. It plays, I think, 2 of the Technical Machine. Devo, yes, yeah. Devo. So yeah, that's pretty cool to see that there's 2 of those. So like that build is like kind of completely different though. It doesn't play the Driftbloom. However, I still like personally prefer the Driftbloom with the Bravery Charm. I still like to be able to like have that option to hit that big 300 when I need to. So I still like prefer that variant. But yeah, no, I think the deck is like really good. I think it's going to perform well. Probably will be the most played deck. I think that it will hover around 13 to 15%. So yeah. It's still Gardevoir.
It's still Gardevoir. I know Jake and I were talking about it a bunch, both on the video where we were talking about the new Worlds format, which obviously will impact some deck choices for the event, but also in some videos talking about other Worlds related formats, some podcast stuff. And basically the thought is like, because everyone's really good, they're going to feel comfortable playing Gardevoir. The good players are going to be there. They're going to be comfortable playing Gardevoir, even though it is a deck that is more prone to these ties. It's kind of a slower deck, and this format for Worlds does extremely punish ties, as we're seeing.
Yeah. You have to scoop early with the deck if you want to play.
You do have to scoop
accept
early.
That, like as soon as you see that like first hand, like you play like your first and second turn, you have to be like really, really quick to scoop, just because you do not want to tie in this format. Because I think for Masters, if it's 8 rounds, you have to go 5-0-3 or 6-2, and it's pretty hard to go 5-0-3 against players who like know how to manage time, if that makes sense. So I think that you definitely need to be like really, really careful like when it comes to like playing Gardevoir. You're gonna have to change your approach.
For sure. All right. Well, thank you for sharing your Worlds thoughts, Gabe. Where can people find you on Twitter?
Yeah. So you can pretty much find me on all social media. Smart TCG. Like my YouTube, Twitch, etc. You can just find me on pretty much any social media platform. So yeah, make sure to check me out.
All right. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next interview. Bye bye.